Doesn't get any bigger than this. Barca against Seattle here in the final match of the 2023 MLS Next Flex competition. David Goss and Jaleel Anibaba with you for this one here on MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. The fans are out. The last game of the last day. Everyone knows this is the one you're looking for.
Absolutely, David. And we are going out in style on Apple TV. You have the Bruce Lee inspired kits for the Seattle side and that silky gold for Barcelona.
Barca, the biggest name, of course, in the world. This academy, one of the biggest names in North America. They will talk about the national team players, the European players, everything that's come out of them. This is the group that we're going to see out there today.
Let's get it, David. This is going to be an exciting one, and I'm extremely excited to watch how this team comes out. Keep your eyes out on number 51, Sean Petrie.
On the flip side for this Seattle Sounders team, much of this group, they won the Generation Adidas Cup U17 competition last year. Playing up in age group, they return this year. This is a loaded starting lineup.
Littered with talent throughout, from top to bottom. One player to focus on, number 6, Jack Jeremiah.
That midfield three is going to be the strength of this team. Snyder, Brunel, and Sawyer Cristomo as well. As the Seattle Sounders, you said it, Bruce Lee inspired yellow and red kits get us started here, going right to left on your screens. Barcelona in their gold kits going left to right on your monitors. Both these teams coming out in a 4-3-3 formation. Trevor Wilson getting the starting goal in this one for the Sounders. Sean Brunn and Carlos Diaz-Arriola, the center back pairing. Jason Castillo out here on the left side. Eric Collins on the right side. That midfield three that we just talked about. That strength. Cristomo, Brunel, and Jeremiah. And then the attacking front three. Brito on the left. Luande will hold things down at the center forward position. And Etienne Veillard along the right wing. Austin Montoya getting the starting goal for Barca. Ivan Lozano and Trent Lindsay, the starting center backs. Devin Galuzzo and Emmanuel Lopez, the starting fullbacks. Jordi Ayala, Varun Mather, and Felipe Rodriguez, the midfield three. We talked about the attacking triumvirate for this one. Sean Petrie, Aiden Marquez, and Mark Bronick up top. Jeremiah early on the ball here. Through the lines for Veillard. Quick footwork there from Collins. So he earns the first set piece of the game.
Yeah, David, you already see that Seattle's coming out the gates flying, dominating possession, and earning that first free kick. Whenever you're talking about trying to get on the front foot, coaches are always preaching the importance of making sure that you get your set pieces right. Why? It's because it's one of the best ways to really impose your will on a match.
This Barca team has imposed their will throughout the group stage. A 4-2 win against Real JFC in the first game, 3-1 over Cedar Stars in the second. That puts them in the driver's seat here. If they can get any result in this one, they will clinch their spot at MLS Next Cup. Collins comes in field. Luande drops it back. Sounders team missing some of the biggest pieces in this U17 group, maybe. Hawkins not here, Chris Aquino not here, but still loaded with talent. We've talked all week about your opportunity then. Stuart Hawkins doesn't come. If you're Carlos Diaz-Arriola and Sean Brunn, this is your chance to establish that you should be the starting center back. Same for these wingers. This is an opportunity to sort of stamp their name.
Yeah, absolutely. Whenever there are absences in a lineup, it presents opportunities because there's a squad for a reason. And whenever you're talking about the developmental phases of players' progressions, you know, it's all about, we've been speaking about the fact that putting players in situations where they flourish the most is the name of the game when you're talking about player development. So whether it's moving up and playing with older age groups within your squad or, you know, playing in your age pure age bracket, whenever you get your opportunities, again, you never know who's watching, especially when a tournament like this is littered with scouts.
Lozano now. To break out a little bit for this Barca squad in possession. Lindsay back to Lozano. Long ball towards Bronick. Can't bring it down. Collins now chasing towards his own goal. Turns up field. Collins can't keep it in play. So 2 matches here in the stadium so far today on MLS Season Pass. Opening things up with Sockers FC clinching their spot on top of Group A here in the U17 division against Orlando City. Previous match, Montreal winning the shootout against Albion, but not enough to catch Sockers at the top of that group. Now, we've got Barca facing off against Seattle. Barca Residency located at Casa Grande in Arizona, formerly the residency site for Real Salt Lake. Since RSL rebuilt their facilities in Salt Lake City and moved their group there, Barca taking over in the Phoenix area. This academy loaded the talent that they've put together. Bryce Duke right now in Major League Soccer, and Brooklyn Reigns, Diego Luna on his way to the US U20 national team for the upcoming World Cup. Rokas Puskas will meet him as well. Currently playing with Hajduk Split in the Croatian First Division. Caden Clark coming out of Barcelona Residency, heading to New York Red Bulls, where he signed a homegrown deal and then was sold to Leipzig. Julian Araujo out of this academy, on his way now to the other Barcelona. Maybe considered the first Barcelona to many people that don't know about the Casa Grande setup. I'm not sure that those people exist, you know?
Hey, absolutely. When you talk about Casa Grande as one of the historic venues in MLS development.
This ball put over the top. Bronick chasing. Bronick's cross played in. The opportunity. And Petrie not able to wrap his foot around it.
And why this shot goes wide is you have to give a lot of credit to Trevor Wilson. He does excellently to close down this angle as the ball comes in over the top. This is a great transitional moment for Barca. Squaring it across the goal. Again, Trevor Wilson gets big and shrinks that angle. Makes it very difficult for Barcelona to find the back of the net.
Beautifully done there from Castillo to help build out of the back. Now Jeremiah, the long ball for Luande to chase. Luande down the end line. Good soccer here end to end. Can we talk about Bronick? First touch on the outside of the foot, and then the thigh to push it out in front of him. Beautifully done there for Barca. Just to set that up. That's a center forward coming out wide and creating for his teammate.
Absolutely. Being able to run the channel, and Bronick, that, like you said, excellent technique.
Opportunity coming now. This one curled in. Bronick now coming back to defend. Pushing their lines up a little bit here. Reset things. Tackled away in a transition moment now. Petrie. He's got runners both sides looking for Bronick. And taken over by Castillo.
Well done in the end there from Castillo. He does a very good job to get himself in between Bronick's run and the ball to cut that off. We're already seeing early in this match, Bronick is dangerous running those channels and making darting runs toward the center of the goal.
Brito pulls it back, can't find the foot of Snyder Brunel. And who else but Bronick lurking, but he's in an offside position. Oh, excuse me, that was Marquez.
And that was a tight decision there for the near side AR. Marquez was trying to toe that line. But the way in which Barcelona is able to create a lot of problems for the Seattle back line is that they have at least 2 options running off of the back 4, and they have cool and calm possession at their feet, and then they can play these balls either down the channel or through the 2 center backs, something to definitely key in on.
Brunel now, he's able to beat the last defender, tries to come back, and the tackle made by Lozano.
Lozano, this is excellent defending, just making sure that you stay focused on the ball.
End-to-end stuff to open this matchup as we expected. This feels like one of those times, Jaleel, where no matter how cagey a match can get, the talent at such a high level, there's gonna be chances created both sides.
Yeah, we're seeing that on display, David, and I think what we're really starting to understand very quickly about this match is that these two possession-based teams are able to break each other down, so defending in the final third will be extremely vital for both sides.
Castillo's been bright in this game so far. Lindsay just sees that one back safely into the hands of Austin Montoya. Here is Trent Lindsay popping up with this big tackle.
And Seattle breaks through. This is good feet here, but even better defending from Trent Lindsay. He just focuses in on the ball, and that's what you need to do as a defender whenever you're defending in the box. You can't look at the hips, you can't look at anything above the shoulders. It's all about focusing on the ball, and that right there is why Trent Lindsay anchors that back line for this Barcelona side.
Castillo surrounded in the corner. He draws a foul. John Tamoya, Rodrigo Perez, and Giovanni Romero are officials for this one. Castillo's been phenomenal coming from that left back spot. You know the history of attacking fullbacks for Seattle Sounders all the way through the academy. Pretty much they're all center mids. And they're all named Roldan, but still good history there.
Very good history. We should have made a bet over or under how many minutes it would have taken us to mention the Roldan brothers, because when you're talking about local talent in that Seattle area and of the highest order, it is synonymous with the Roldan family.
Although we could have said Yedlin as well, as this free kick comes in. Deep in the corner. Headed down. Opportunity here. The shot saved by Montoya. The second chance put away. It was Cristomo with the first opportunity. But Kelvin Luis Brito puts Barca to sleep here early in this one.
Yeah, and it's about time for an afternoon nap for Barcelona, like you said, all due to the foot of Kelvin Luis Brito. This is about focus and opportunity in the box, and he gets a second bite at the apple here off the rebound, and Kelvin Luis Brito makes no mistake about it. The first shot goes off to the rebound, and then here, all power. Yup, finds that near post. Nothing that Montoya can do about it at the end of the day.
That window could not have been smaller between Montoya and his near post. Somehow Brito sneaks that one in.
He really does there, and that's an excellent finish there from Brito, and he heard me from up here in the booth that it's nap time for Barcelona. He's off to a very good start, and as is this Seattle side. But David, as we're now in the 12th minute, 13th minute of this match, we're already seeing, like we said, it's end-to-end stuff, and there will be a lot of chances created in the respective attacking one-thirds. You don't think that Barcelona is really going to lull off here and not continue to put the pressure on as they look to step up their lines. Because in the first 10 minutes of the match, they looked very dangerous, playing slip balls down the channels and also in between the two center backs of the Seattle Sounders side. So what I'm very, very interested to see is what is the response? What is the response for Barcelona? Because like you said, this is a team that is contending for the top of this group, and they've been excellent so far in this tournament.
Yeah, this right now, a lifeline to the other teams in the group. Barca can fall in this one. For Seattle, just trying to finish this tournament on a high for these young players. As we said, a chance to show off for a host of scouts, agents, coaches, and your club. It's a big matchup as you're looking at a Barca team. They're currently third in the Southwest Division, only 1 point back of first place. So if you're a Seattle player, you're saying, I want to test myself against the best. Here's your opportunity.
Absolutely, David. And that's what this tournament is all about. Testing yourself amongst the best talent. And, of course, normally these teams are playing regional games, league play, X, Y, and Z. But you're testing yourself against the best talent in your age group across all of North America. And for the Seattle Sounders side, this is definitely a good opportunity for them to do that in their group.
Brito was challenging there in the box, not able to get there on time though. Now Lopez to the feet of Petrie. Montoya under pressure. Back to Lindsay. Lindsay beats the first defender. And Barca able to work out of trouble, but eventually Seattle turned them over. Castillo closed down. Castillo somehow gets out of it. The switch of the field now. Collins pushing forward. Vallard cutting back inside. The long strike. Jeremiah puts that one into the upper deck.
Yeah, the captain throws his thumb up because at the end of the day, it bounced up on him right before he looked to put his laces through it. That's why it went so high. A player of his caliber, if it's smooth on the turf, you won't see the ball pop up that high. When you're talking about this Barcelona side and how they've been able to really, find themselves at top of this group, it's because of a lot of their calm possession. We saw they were pressed back in their tucked back in their 18-yard box. Their goalkeeper, Austin Montoya, is able to wiggle out, play Lindsay, and then Lindsay's able to hit a little nutmeg. They're able to creep up this right-hand side where a lot of other teams, they would just launch it forward to look to step up their lines. That is one of the most elite aspects of the game that this Barcelona team really relies on.
This one curled in. Headed just past Brito. Second chance coming at this one. Jeremiah's shot is blocked. Seattle continuing to turn the screws here early in this first half. The Sounders trying to double the lead. Brito back to Castillo. The line here. Dangerous area for Brunel.
And even when you talk about the prowess of the technical ability from Barca to be able to move up the pitch in a somewhat of an effective way, you have to give even more credit to the Seattle Sounders and their tenacity to win the ball back high up the pitch. Their press has been on point. They've dominated the possession battle, but what's been more impressive to me is their ability to win the ball back high up the field. And that's why they've been able to pin in this Barcelona side for the majority of this first half so far.
Almost 15 minutes played. We had the big opportunity for Barca in transition the other way. But the possession over 60% at least in favor of Seattle and deep in Barca's defensive third, not in the middle third.
Absolutely. And this is the press on display again. Barcelona is confident on the ball here.
Montoya shows his confidence. Beats Luande in his own 6. 1v1.
Yeah, confident is maybe an understatement there. With Montoya, he's able to cut it back on Luande, rushing forward. But at the end of the day, David, they aren't able to break their line. They aren't able to break the lines of the Seattle Sounders press. And you can see that the front three in Brito, Luande, and Yayard, they're stepping up high on any goal kick that Barcelona has, and they're really pinning them in, keeping it very difficult for them to break out of their defensive one-third.
At what point, if you're Barca, though, do you recognize and say, let's go long here, let's either take advantage of 1v1 defending in Seattle's back, or just to open up space, or is that giving up and losing your fundamentals?
No, I don't think that it's giving up and losing your fundamentals if you're doing it in a very intentional way. You can still move up the pitch and keep possession while playing over distance. So two of the ways in which that Barcelona was able to get some looks on goal or threaten Seattle's goal was to play a little bit more direct. So whenever you're struggling in possession, when you're a possession-based team, it's typically because the field is tight and you need to stretch it. And if you stretch it 1 or 2 times, then that opens up the availability to play more intricate passes lower in the pitch to move up that way.
Lindsay out wide now. Dangerous moments there as Marquez coming in field. Switch here for Galuzzo. One-on-one with Collins. Collins back to defend. He uses Brunn, and now Seattle can break out. Most of those still have numbers back defensively. Lawande's guided off that one. Barca, 4-2 win in their first game, 3-1 in their second, so they haven't been perfect defensively, but it's been the offensive explosion that's kept them going in this group stage. This one driven in, wrong-footed but cleared away by Diaz Arreola. And somehow flying forward is Crisostomo. He gets it to Luande. Luande trying to find space to shoot. The tackle made right under the eyes of the referee. And we continue to play on. Two Sounders players down behind the ball.
And this is just a run over about 75 yards from Crisostomo. And man, he's able to evade 1, 2, 3 challenges and then finds the number 9 in Luande top box. Luande just wasn't able to get it out of his feet to let it go. There's a little coming together of bodies, and he didn't quite embellish, got tripped up there. Referee elects to not give it a penalty. I think this is the right decision. But if Luande is able to get this out of his feet and have a strike at goal, you're looking at a very dangerous situation for Barcelona. Excellent run up the field from Sawyer Crisostomo.
And Seattle right now working in two fronts. They've been good in possession, but there you see dangerous in transition, and that it feels like it's going to be in the back of Barca's minds every time they try and push numbers forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what Seattle has done in this match is that they've been playing, a more intentional, purposeful brand of football. Yes, they've been looking to dominate the possession battle, and they've been very intricate in their passing, but their lines are a little bit more stretched even when they have the ball. So when they play into the 2-6s, or when they play up the line, especially on this near hand side to Jason Castillo, Castillo's able to open his hips and play a ball down the channel, which threatens them a little bit more. On the flip side, the reason why Barcelona is struggling a little bit is they're getting solid touches, they're finding their first, second pass, but they're only moving up the pitch about 15 to 25 yards.
Barca, Arizona Residency, they've got a chance with a result here to clinch their spot at MLS Next Cup. And we're going to have all those matches for you on MLS Season Pass on Apple TV, as you see there in Frisco, Texas, on the grounds of FC Dallas's campus. June 17th to 25th, U15, 16, 17, and 19 age groups. It'll be the national championships. That is what all these young players play for year in and year out. A chance to win a trophy, the highest level you can in North America. We have seen some incredible teams so far. Sockers FC did not concede a goal. 9 points over the course of the tournament for them. One of the early favorites, NYCFC, bringing a strong group. The Columbus Crew as well. We'll talk through all of that as we go along. Unfortunately for Seattle and Michael Luande, he picks up an injury here, so he will have to sub out. Kaviraj Bod is the one to come on. We'll see the overall changes, but it looks like Etienne Veillard will slide in at the center forward role.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Luande. It's just that last-ditch challenge from the Barcelona defense, and don't want to speculate what the injury could be, but the young man has to unfortunately come out of this match in the 22nd minute. So,
Sounders losing their lead man up front. And they continue to put in a strong performance Foul will go against the goal scorer, Brito. We know there's still danger in this team. We've seen the quality and runs of Sawyer, Crisostomo. We've seen Brunel from deep, Jeremiah's ability to strike it, and then, of course, Brito sneaking that ball into the near post. They're still attacking firepower out there for Seattle.
Absolutely, David. And, Seattle has really been on the ascendancy for basically the entirety of this match. They've been dominating it. They've been, like we've spoken about, more purposeful. There are some standout players here. One who's on the throw-in, Castillo, has been excellent. You have to give Brito his credit because he puts in, the rebound and puts his side up 1-0. And for me, again, I'm looking for that response from Barcelona, and I feel like they're still on the back foot, where Seattle is really putting them under a lot of pressure. But at the end of the day, we all know that Barcelona has the talent and the ability to get themselves back level and to threaten for 3 points in this match.
Brunel now carries it forward. Back to Crisostomo. Castillo chooses to switch this one across the field. Doesn't connect, but now Brun back in possession for his team. Sano stepping out of his back line and winning that one. Barca right now looking for someone to settle them in. They're battling. We saw in our last game, Albion completely out of the game at times against CF Montreal, but they were able to keep the deficit at the 1 goal, and that allowed them to come back in the second half and equalize. So it does feel like for Barcelona, just riding out this wave of energy from Seattle off the start. If they can stick at 1 goal deficit, they'll probably feel okay.
Absolutely, David, and we've seen results just like that play out in that fashion throughout this tournament, where we've seen teams really be down, whether it's 2-0 or 1-0 in that first half. If you can find that first goal that puts you on the ascendancy to create a comeback, especially before you go into the 10s, before the halftime whistle hits, you're in a good spot. So again, there's so much to play for in this game, even as far as just time is concerned. And Barcelona is not out of this match by any stretch of the imagination.
Barca Residency Academy went down 1-0 on the stroke of halftime against Real JFC in their first match. They came back in the second half. They scored 2 in the opening 20 minutes. It got tied up 2-2, and then they scored 2 more in the 82nd and 90th. 3 of them scored by Mark Bronick. As I said, this is a team that will have confidence in their ability to come back and create. And now flying up the field is Sean Petrie. Petrie coming in the field and dragged down. A positive there for Jaleel that Petrie, one of their outlet creative attacking players, coming in field to maybe find the game a little bit more here.
Yeah, I think it makes perfect sense for Barcelona because you need to get Petrie into this game. And he showed there his technical ability to just evade the number 6 and Jack Jeremiah there, draw the foul. And to your point, David, I think if they can find Petrie on the half turn higher up the field and they're attacking 1/3, then Barca will find themselves in business.
And Barca, they're now forced into an early substitution as well. Tough news for this Barca team, just like for Seattle. And it is Trent Lindsay that will come off. The center back, he's got a goal already in this tournament. We saw how important he was early in this one, Jaleel. So that's a massive loss for this Barca side.
Absolutely, David. And Lindsay, unfortunately, was wincing in some type of discomfort. So that was definitely a sub that Barcelona wasn't planning on making. And he was a standout performer early on in this match. And, coming into a game like this, where you're on the back foot, especially when you're coming in at center back. This is not an easy thing to do here. So it's going to be one that Seattle Sounders is going to be looking to attack that back line and looking to attack Brian Garcia coming into this match. But Garcia also will have to catch the rhythm of the game very quickly.
Young man as well. Raj forced to find his feet quickly as well. As the offside flag goes up. These two coaching staffs, 7 substitutes available to them in 3 moments. Both forced to use a moment here in the first half. Halftime does not count as a moment. If either coaching staff chooses to make wholesale changes there, you can so while still saving your last 2 moments for the second half. 2 of the deeper rosters at the U17 level. A ton of quality still on display. Castillo looking for Brunel. Garcia gets his first touch off the bench. Offside flag goes up there. There's Jordi Ayala making the deep run out of midfield. Castillo looking for the run of Crisostomo. Can't find him. Flag stayed down, but not able to catch up to that one was Mark Bronick.
He wasn't able to catch up to it, but what's really stood out to me and has been quite interesting, honestly, David, is the way in which Barcelona has found themselves to be the most dangerous. Yes, they are a possession-based team and they look to pass out of the back.
Crisostomo, his shot over the crossbar. Crisostomo, electric here to start this one out. The save off his shot created the lone goal, and he almost finds the back of the net.
Yes, Castillo just looks to play a ball toward the middle of the field. It's looking for that top corner. Crisostomo, man, he has been excellent. We saw on the previous play that resulted in injury, unfortunately for the Seattle Sounders, he made a run over 70 yards. He's really been effective sitting in that dual 8 spot and has picked his moments very effectively to come out of the midfield, shot out of a cannon.
Brunel there on the ground, still gets to touch the ball, but Barca comes away with it. Marquez over the top. Trevor Wilson will try and guide this one out, and he does earn a goal kick.
And what we were talking about earlier, just ahead of that Seattle Sounders chance that went over the bar there from Crisostomo, was the fact that what I find very interesting in these 32 minutes of the match that we played so far is that Barcelona is a possession-based team. When they get their goal kicks, they look to spread their 2 center backs and they play intricate passing within their own 18-yard box. We'll put a pin on this again.
Brito, the goal scorer, breaks into the box. Looking for the overlapping run of Castillo. Saved by Montoya, alive in the box, and it's in the back of the net. Etienne Veillard sliding into that center forward spot, and he doubles the Sounders' lead.
And this seems very reminiscent of the first goal, David. It's about being opportunistic in the box and making sure that you stay with it. This play comes down this near left-hand side here. Brito, the former goal scorer, gets a little shimmy, plays Castillo, who's been balling. It's the second bite of the apple here. And it is all about Etienne Veillard. He stays with it, and he's rewarded. But the footwork down this near left-hand side sets it all up. And then on that back post, Etienne says, "Thank you very much. I'm not going to miss from there."
And for Barca, you can see Montoya committed to not getting beat at that near post again. Feels like that's way too much space for Castillo on the cutback just to be able to open up his body and hit that shot.
Absolutely, but that space is created. It's all intentional. if you go back and you look at that chance there, Kelvin Luis Brito does an excellent job to make sure that he carries his run with the ball toward that back post as he creates space for Castillo to make the overlap. If he takes his run straight and not diagonal, there's nowhere for Castillo to run, and if he gets the ball, he is putting a chance in on goal from a way wider angle. Excellent from the first goal scorer, Kelvin Luis Brito.
The Sounders team, they only had scored 1 goal in flex so far. It was Jack Jeremiah after trailing 2-0 against Real JFC in their second match. They've got 2 goals now in the opening 33 minutes of this game. You could say even Barca may be lucky it's just 2.
Facts. What I like about performances like these here, David, from the Seattle Sounders is you could look at the results on the last day of MLS Next Flex and say, hey, all right, we're just going to go through the motions here. We want to go back home, fly across the coast, and get back to Seattle where it's much cooler than this. I'll tell you that much. But no, you have to give this group a lot of credit for showing their mental fortitude to continue to improve individually, collectively, making sure that they do what they need to do to put themselves in the best standing. And whenever you go about your football in that manner, you leave content with whatever your performance is in the tournament and in the game individually. Well done from the Seattle Sounders in which they've approached this game. Again, what will the response be for Barcelona?
Seattle still an opportunity to get to Next Cup through league play after they return home, and as you said, they want to go back on a high, feel good about their performance, and they know the challenge in front of them. Now the center backs linking up here. It was the run from Diaz Arreola over to Castillo. I don't know that we've seen a more impactful game from a fullback besides this one from Jason Castillo.
Nah, David Castillo out here balling. He's putting on a clinic in terms of how to play that left back spot as a right-footed player. And what I really like about him is his first read is he opens up his hips. He faces the field, so he knows, okay, if the defender cuts off that line, I can get on my favorite right foot. And he's very comfortable connecting, combining, but also running forward. And you can't cage him because he's also confident on his left foot. Very well done from Castillo. And his movement has created a lot of opportunities for the Seattle Sounders. And for me, he is the player that has really allowed the Sounders to grow in this match and stay in the Residency.
Brunel clips that one in off the pass from Castillo. Yeah, he has been phenomenal, and he's been purposeful what he's done so often. You see, especially from the fullback spot, dangerous area, head down into an area rather than finding feet, finding a teammate. Castillo's had his head up. He's been looking for teammates, connecting passes every single time, so it's been impressive to watch.
Yeah, it really has. And his ability to stay poised on the ball as well on this near-hand side has created overloads in the midfield for Seattle. They're able to bring over help, whether it's, you know, you got Arreola, he can go back if he needs to a center back partner. He can go forward, playing in triangles toward the midfield with Jack Jeremiah. And of course, his chemistry with Kelvin Luis Brito has been on point. So continue to look to see how Castillo really affects this match.
They are already sitting on a goal. That volley pulled wide, but still showing danger. Bad now along the wing. The layoff here, Crisostomo, his cross is blocked. They'll be out for a corner kick.
Seattle playing some intricate play down that far-hand side, David. And again, Crisostomo is a name that we continue to harp in on. He is in and around every key action for the Seattle Sounders. Bad does a very good job coming in off the bench to affect this game positively. Again, Seattle Sounders, they out here balling, and they've kept Barcelona really back on their heels from minute one.
I didn't realize it was 79 degrees today. When you said it's cooler in Seattle, the clouds are out. It's pretty cool here. It feels like Seattle right now. But you are right. It is 79 degrees as this one's drilled in. Headed away. Jeremiah on the second attempt, and Seattle wins possession back. Diaz Arreola can't go up to challenge for that one. Ayala brings it down. Back to Montoya. And Montoya immediately pressured. Castillo wins the challenge and out for a throw-in.
Yeah, again, call Castillo's name. He's typically up in and around the attacking 1/3, combining or whatnot, but he's also able to defend and put in a challenge when he needs to as well.
You were a defender who played across the back line. What's it like as a right back switching to left back?
You know, I actually really enjoyed it. And where I played left back the most actually was in Seattle, coincidentally enough. And what I learned about playing that position as a right-footed player is that you actually have a lot of advantages if your first touch is to open your hips up to the field. And that's what the first mistake typically is for a lot of off-footed players playing on that, you know, wide side. So if you have a right-footed player playing left back or a left-footed player playing right back, they're apprehensive to open up to that weak foot. You could use it as a decoy. You could open up your hips and then not ever play with your left foot, but it creates a situation where that winger or whoever's pressing you takes a step back instead of continuing on his pressure. And that's why I've really been giving Castillo his praise, because as a right-footed player playing left back, he's not afraid to open up his hips, and that allows him to read the entire field every time he gets the ball.
And I would assume the biggest key there is to work hard enough so that your off foot is strong enough that you can trust it, right? If you have confidence that you can play it with both feet, you can play any spot.
Yeah, absolutely, David. And, you know, we're talking about helping our young talent continue to flourish and hone in on their skills. Using your weak foot is probably, for me, the most general way that you can improve. If you're a right-footed player, get on that left foot. If you're a left-footed player, don't just use that right foot to stand on.
Brunel now charging through the lines. Bad on the far side. Bounces past two defenders. And it's finally swept away by Galuzzo. I also love that you threw in the left-footed players playing right back. Can you even think of an example of that?
You know what? Let's see.
It's out there, though.
There may be. I can't think of any off top. Let me be real.
Maybe Kellen Rowe.
Kellen Rowe. No, Kellen Rowe's right-footed.
Yeah, he just plays everywhere.
Exactly. Kellen Rowe's a good example of a right-footed player who has played some left back, and he has perfected that as well. He opens up his hips and can look to play down that right or that left line if he's playing left back. And he's got that in his locker because of the fact that, you know, he's a natural midfielder. So he's comfortable playing off of multiple angles and off both sides of his body. And a lot of times, too, he also has the ability to play with the outside of his right foot as well.
Seattle wins this one back high up the field. Brito's pullback. Doesn't find a teammate. But Jeremiah, Brunel, and Crisostomo pulling strings in that midfield, reading the Barca possession so well to keep stepping up and winning it back.
Yeah, absolutely. Whenever you're analyzing a team, David, you're looking to see how well can they execute the multitude of principles in this game. And that's why, for me, Seattle has been above and beyond Barca in this match, is because their principles have been on point. They're understanding when to press. They're understanding when to play over distance, when to play intricate passing, when to play inside. Here we go.
Castillo charging forward. He went down with an injury and then popped up and picked up the ball at the exact spot he went down, and then proceeds to go forward, beat a man 1v1. I mean, this is like Kafu stuff right now from the fullback.
Absolutely. Everybody out here that's watching this game, make sure you put a circle on Jason Castillo. He's out here balling. And then for you younger athletes out here who are watching this game, if you're an outside back, make sure you're keying in on his technique, his fortitude defensively, and the timing in which he moves up the pitch, and when he also elects to play inside. Very impressive from the young man.
Stood down there by Bronick. And yet this Barca side still in this one. Only down 2-0. If they can start to find some offensive chances, you know this young man Bronick can put it in the back of the net if he gets half a look. As I said, a hat trick against Real JFC in the first game. That one won back in the open field by Rodriguez. Crisostomo over to help. It'll be a minimum of 2 minutes of stoppage time coming up. Unfortunately, the injuries to Michael Luande and Trent Lindsay on top of the 2 goals, adding a couple seconds, but 2 stunning finishes for this Seattle side. Brito tucking that first goal in the 11th minute into the near post, and then Vallard, the second one off the work down the left wing. Montoya made the initial save, but Vallard and Bad were both there to put it in the back of the net. It's been all Seattle in this first half. Jill, what's the message for the Barca coaching staff? Steven Regard, the head coach for this group. What's the message here at halftime?
I think to revitalize the group, because they've come out a little bit flat, and it's been uncharacteristic in terms of the results that they've been able to garner in this tournament. So to remind them why they've been successful in this tournament and to get back to that. And that is getting their attacking 3 in on the ball through especially the creativity of Sean Petrie. We haven't been able to call his name much this afternoon. He hasn't been able to find the ball. So again, getting him on the half turn where he's able to play Bronick into spaces to really challenge that back line of the Seattle Sounders. We saw flashes of it at the beginning of the match, but they kind of fell off of that. So the message is to just make sure that you get back to who you really are and how you've been successful in this tournament so far.
Barca, as we said, 4-2 win in their first game, 3-1 in their second. They've only trailed once in this tournament. But it's going to be a hill to climb to get back in this. Maybe to see some halftime changes here for this Barca coaching staff, as we are into that minimum of 2 minutes of stoppage time. Montoya under pressure again, showing off his footwork. Marquez with his back towards goal, trying to build through the midfield. Switch. Garcia up the line for Lopez. Now this man Petrie on the ball. Ayala over. Rodriguez will switch the field. We have not been able to say the names much of these Barca center mids. They've really been stamped out of the game by this Seattle midfield 3. As Jeremiah shows once again what they're capable of. Brunel now bursting out of midfield. Ball up the line for Bad. Bad's got teammates making runs in the box and intercepted at the near post by Garcia. A must-win moment.
That's excellent defending there from the substitute in Garcia. He does what he needs to do to make sure that he's tracking this play, because the goal scorer in Luis Brito was lurking on that back post there. If Garcia isn't up for the challenge and isn't carrying his defensive run back diagonally toward his goal, you're looking at a tap-in on the back post. Well done from Bray Garcia.
Jeremiah. Good footwork. Beats the initial man, can't find a teammate. It'll be a welcome whistle here for this Barca Residency side. Dominant throughout this tournament, but it has been all Seattle in this one. The Sounders playing Barca off the pitch. That young man, Kelvin Luis Brito, with the opening goal. Vallard to double the lead. What can Barca come with in this second half? They'll try and get back in this, as we've got second half action coming up here on MLS Season Pass. 2023 MLS Next Flex U19 competition. The final day of the group stage. Met Oval comes in leading Group C ahead of the Columbus Crew. And Jaleel, they knew the job, they knew the task.
They knew the task, and that is absolutely right. They were up for every single big moment of this game. As you see here, Columbus is able to break free on